gotten used over the last few months to government guidance being updated often at short notice, but even so, the announcement on Saturday evening that the furlough scheme was being extended and the job support scheme being postponed came as quite a surprise. So what do employers need to know and what do they need to be considering? Well, if the employee has been on furlough previously, there's no great change, just that the furlough period can be extended into November or whatever date the government finally decides to close the scheme. If you have an employee who has previously been furloughed, then it should just be a case of writing to that individual and explaining that the scheme has been extended. You want to continue to avail of the scheme for them and asking them to agree to the furlough agreement being extended until the scheme closes. The scheme, importantly, has also then been opened up to not just employees who hadn't previously been furloughed, but actually even employers who hadn't used the scheme previously can now avail of the scheme. So this will be particularly important for employers and for employees who have been recently hired into a business. So previously there was a cut-off point. If you hadn't been furloughed by June, you couldn't be furloughed from July forward. But the government are now saying that an employee can be furloughed provided they've been on the employer's payroll and reported to HMRC by the 30th of October. So any employer with an employee in that position can newly furlough that employee for the first time, and it will be important that they enter into a full furlough agreement between the 1st of November and the closure of the scheme. And that agreement should set out details of pay during time on furlough and a commitment from the employee not to do any work during furloughed hours. So one thing that we do need to keep a close eye on, particularly those who run weekly payrolls, there will need to be clarity on this in the next couple of days. It's not exactly clear how the 80% of pay is going to be calculated. So previously it was based on the rate of pay of the employee in March 2020. So we had a situation where the minimum wage increased in April, but that wasn't taken into account for employees during their furlough pay because their time on furlough was paid at 80% of their March pay. But given that the scheme is now going to be open to new employers and new employees who were on payroll by the end of October, it's quite possible that they'll press the reset button and they will pick a different date. Perhaps the October will be the relevant date, and whatever the normal hourly rate of pay was at the end of October will be the basis upon which the 80% of pay will be calculated for the furlough grant. So that's a case of watch this space because we don't have that clarity yet, and when it's coming we will provide a further update. But for now we hope that this short video update is helpful just in giving you some of the headlines and things you need to be aware of and thinking about.